I think Ja Morant can become that guy. I think it's still Steph, it's still LeBron, it's still KD, but definitely Ja Morant is a future face of the league. You respect, mad respect and love for other guys like Trae Young and stuff like that, but Ja Morant can be that dude.
Who will be the dominant player of the 2020s? So Luka, Steph,
Ja
Durant.
Morant. Ja Morant.
I wouldn't compare myself to like a younger guy, but there's guys that compete, and I think the guy that competes on and he's doing a great job that people don't talk about is Ja.
As you can see, at one point, everybody thought Ja Morant was going to be the face of the league, and it made sense. Ja's a flashy player, he can jump, he's got a good story, why not choose him? This was a mindset that a lot of fans had 3 years ago, but since then, things have taken a turn, and I'd argue that Anthony Edwards has actually turned into the player Ja was supposed to be. Now, when you see a uber athletic player like Ja, and you hear he's not reaching his potential, you'd think it would be due solely to injuries. But the truth of the matter is, although injuries have played a part, his off-the-court issues are the real problem here. He just can't stay out of trouble. The first incident happened in March of 2023, where he got handed an 8-game suspension for showing a firearm on Instagram Live. But Ja didn't learn his lesson, because 2 months later, he did the same thing again, this time brandishing a weapon in his vehicle, leading to a 25-game suspension. But that was 2 years ago. Ja has definitely learned from his mistakes by now.
So you had offsetting technicals during the timeout. As the Warriors were going to the bench, Ja Morant had some form of gesture there. You can make that what you want. And then Buddy Hield kind of responded, so you have offsetting tees, no free throws.
Yep, that's Ja Morant getting himself in trouble and eventually getting fined $75,000 for making a finger gun gesture. This situation all started on a Tuesday night, Grizzlies vs Warriors, and it was a high-stakes game. If you've been keeping up with the season, the playoff race for the 5 through 8 seed has been pretty tight. As a result, Memphis had to win this game. Unfortunately for them, they ended up losing, but the most memorable thing outside of Curry's 52 points was when Ja did a finger gun gesture at the Warriors bench. So Draymond was quick to snitch to the ref about it, but as you can see, Hield did the gesture back too, so both guys ended up getting technical fouls. But Morant didn't go unpunished, because an hour before a game against the Miami Heat, the league sat down with him and basically were like, okay, you're not going to be able to do stuff like that anymore. This is your warning, you can't act like that, you can't be acting like you're shooting anything. Funny part about this is not even over 5 minutes in the game, Ja does it again. The play happened in the first quarter, he made a 3 and couldn't help doing the celebration. I guess though, there's 2 ways you can look at it. Ja either did it on purpose or it was just natural, and honestly, I feel like it was a mix between both. I'm gonna show you a quote soon that makes me think he really doesn't care what Adam Silver says about what he can and cannot do, so that's where I'm getting the idea that he doesn't care. At the same time, he's probably done that celebration a lot to the point where it's just a habit, but you've got to imagine how frustrated Adam Silver must have been. You send somebody to talk to Ja, you think that Ja got the message, you sit down on your couch to watch the game, and in the first quarter, he's already back to his old ways. And what I think really put the nail in the coffin for Ja, and that he was going to get fined, was what he had to say when asked about the situation. He said, quote, "I'm kind of used to it. I was pretty much a villain for 2 years now. Every little thing, if somebody can say something negative about me, it's gonna be out there. So yeah, I don't care no more." Telling the commissioner of the league that you don't care anymore isn't a good way to go about things. Plus, there's no reason why Ja should be trying to act like he's being mistreated and he's just a villain, as he says. He's the one who's making the decisions. Sure, there are other players who do the same types of celebrations. It's been pointed out that Dyson Daniels has also done something similar. Here's the difference though. Ja has a history dealing with all of this, and he's been warned time and time again. On top of that, Adam Silver holds him to a higher standard because Ja was supposed to be the face of the league. And to all the people who say it's not that big of a deal, you're right. I don't think it's that big of a deal that Ja's throwing that up. You've got to understand, though, that the NBA has to answer to its sponsors, and their sponsors aren't going to like his star player acting like a thug. They're not going to feel like that's marketable. And while the NBA cares about this situation, Ja may not anymore. His recent response to the issue is a stark difference from the stuff he was saying after a similar incident he had in 2023 dealing with weapons. In 2023, he actually apologized and said, "I know I've disappointed a lot of people who have supported me. This is a journey and I recognize there is more work to do. My words may not mean much right now, but I take full accountability for my actions. I'm committed to continuing to work on myself." So that's a night and day difference. Years ago, he was saying he's going to work on himself, and now he's flipped the script, and he apparently doesn't care anymore. Notice how he says in his apology that, "I know my words don't mean anything." That's what caught my eye. At the same time, I feel like he was just trying to communicate that people may not believe his apology was real because the event was still fresh in their mind. But with time, maybe some people may have forgotten or at least tried to put it behind him. Maybe there was a select group of fans that just made up excuses for him. But now there's none. It seems like whatever apology he comes out with now just won't seem genuine. He's already done the whole speech about how he's going to better himself. We're just waiting to see the results of that, because all the results we've seen of the apparent bettering himself is a chaos that is happening in Memphis right now.
We weren't planning on talking about a coach being fired in the NBA with 9 games to go, despite being 16 games over 500.
Right.
And then Shams saying that he was called into the Grizzlies' office this morning, was fired in person. Shams called it a stunning dismissal. I would say so. He now becomes one of the top head coaching candidates for the upcoming cycle. He's won 54% of his games.
I don't get this at all, especially not this point of the season, right?
Yeah, they're 44-29.
Firing your coach 9 games before the playoffs is never good. Since then, the Grizzlies have fallen to the 8th seed, and Memphis isn't where they want to be. It was reported that Ja didn't like the offense, and that made it seem like Morant betrayed his own coach and got him fired. But Ja's reaction to the firing made it seem like he didn't want Coach Jenkins to lose his job. If Ja liked Jenkins and the Grizzlies fired him anyways, that might mean that Memphis isn't doing what Ja wants anymore. Maybe, just maybe, they're ready to move on from him. Now, when those rumors started circling, the team GM said that a Ja Morant trade wasn't going to happen, but he could have been lying and just trying to keep any trade talks under wraps, because Memphis could be looking to move on from him, considering all the off-the-court issues and how he's missed a lot of time in the playoffs. That would shake up the West, which is ironic, considering before, Ja thought that the Grizzlies were going to be the ones making the other teams have to be doing the shaking up and making some tough decisions on their rosters.
Who do you look at around the league as you're studying and say, we're going to have to run through them?
Celtics.
No one in the West.
Nah, I'm fine in the West.
If being the 8th seed in the West, getting fined because you can't keep your hands down, and getting your coach fired right before the playoffs is fine in the West, then congratulations to Ja Morant. This is just ironic and overall just interesting to see. Ja really thought the only team he had to worry about was Boston going forward, nobody in his conference. But now it seems like things really haven't panned out how he hoped, and he's going to keep getting punished by Adam Silver if he keeps taking his frustrations out in the fashion he's been doing. But what do you think? Will Ja ever get it together? Tell me in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.